kind of being aware of your surroundings and not moving yourself into other people's areas. Some things to avoid, ordering challenging foods. So bone, shell, spaghetti are kind of the go-to. So if you're eating seafood, kind of avoid that. You don't want to make a huge mess of yourself. You don't want to have like the bib tucked in, like shoving stuff in your face and all that. Getting the butter and the juices all over you. Same thing with spaghetti. You know, if you're slurping up spaghetti, getting tomato sauce flying all around you and the people next to you, really kind of messing you up. It's kind of gross also. You know, if you're at a dinner and you're talking to someone, it's supposed to be like a professional event where we're all upstanding citizens and leaders, and someone just slurping spaghetti all over the place, kind of gives you a bad rap. Nobody really wants to be hanging out with you then. So don't be slurping your spaghetti. Some other things, this is kind of just like a side example. If you say you go out to like lunch with your boss or something, or just any kind of professional lunch engagement, sandwiches are also bad ideas, and finger foods in general, because if your hands get super dirty, now everything you touch is going to get dirty and oily, and you're going to get stuff all over your face, and it drips and it drops, and it can be a real pain. So make sure you're picking something that is easy to eat, something like a baked chicken or anything like that. You just fork and knife, you don't have to worry about utensils or your hands or anything. Those are always safe choices that you want to go. Like I said, we're not here for the food, so you want to make sure you're doing your stuff clean and tidy, so that way you have a good impression. Next thing is seasoning before tasting. This can be very, very, very rude, especially in some cultures. Even here, if you're at a nice dinner, the chef may come to your table, they may be out and about looking. It's very rude to kind of just be like, I don't know what this tastes like, but I'm guaranteeing you it doesn't taste like I like it. So you're just throwing salt on there and pepper and trying to get it all to your exact liking. You always want to taste it first, even if you know you're one of those people that just like add salt to everything. Make sure you taste it first and think, oh, this could use some salt, instead of being like, oh yeah, I don't know what it tastes like, but it's probably not good. So that's kind of the message you're sending to a chef if you season before adding it, or before you actually even try it. Any questions? Awesome. So next we're going to move on to your dining style. So no one's really uptight about this anymore. I was telling Hannah when we were going over this, I kind of fell into one of those Wikipedia holes when I was looking this stuff up. So like, why is there even two different dining types? Well, it's because in like the 1800s, the French court had to be better than everyone else. So something caught on, you had to go and change it to make yourself look better. So we have two styles here, which is the American style and the continental style. This is not being used, so I'm totally going to steal this. So we're going to go over kind of how you properly use this in your forks and knives. So you got a fork and you got a knife. In the American style, you always pass over. So let's say you cut yourself a piece of chicken, because you don't cut your whole thing at once. Then you put your knife down on the plate and pass your fork over to your right hand. Does anyone know why they used to do that? No? Love fun facts. It's because back in the day, it used to be very frowned upon to be lefty. So they also make you kind of be righty by making you pass your fork over to your right hand, even if you were lefty. It's kind of just a proper way. It also kind of helps the pace you're eating more. You have to do this every time you want to put a bite of food in your mouth. It's going to make you slow down, and you're not going to be an animal shoveling food in your face all day. See, that was the original way, and then they kind of switched it up. You make yourself look fancy. Now there's continental style dining. The way that is your prongs are going to be down. I don't really know why there's a reason for that, but you know, it just makes you look fancy if you turn your prongs down. And then you cut an individual piece, and you actually keep holding both utensils and bring it up to your mouth, and then you can cut another piece and bring it up to your mouth. Like you said, no one's really going to be all over you. I don't expect anyone to be at like a formal dinner meeting, but look at that guy across there using continental or American. What a dweeb. Like, that's not going to happen. It's not really important, but it's just something to kind of be aware of, that there are different ways, and if you know that maybe you're in like a very, very upscale, if you ever have dinner with me or something, best believe you're doing continental. There are also different ways that you can signal whether you're resting or you're finished. So up here on the screen we have pictures of that. In the American style, you kind of want to rest the fork from the 6 to about the 10 o'clock position, and with your knife up at the top. You always want the knife prongs, by the way, to be facing in for obvious reasons. If you have your knife prongs facing out, someone bumps your place setting, knife now goes flying. Even though it's just a butter knife, it can be something like a steak knife, that can be dangerous. So always have your knife prongs facing in. And if you're finished, then you put both of them at about the 5 o'clock position facing over to 10. That kind of signals that you're finishing. Of course, most waiters are going to come over and be like, are you finished with this? But you know, that's just a nice way to kind of signal that. Also, a little side note, when you are finished with something, I know it can be very tempting to just like push your plate away from you. But like we talked about, you don't want to mess our dining space up too much. If you push your plate up, those are now pushing all your cups and stuff out and kind of a loop and up to other people's business. So don't do that. Next, we have our continental style resting and finishing. Like I said, we want to have that fork or that knife with the prongs facing in, and continental likes their prongs facing down. So you have those overlapping to signal that you are resting. But if you're finished, it's the same thing as the American style, except with the prongs facing down. So that's always one way to signal that if you don't really feel like talking to anyone, or if you leave the table, the table and you need to signal that to your waiter. So now we have on to our quiz question 5. How do you indicate that you don't want coffee at dessert? Raise your hand if you think it is A, turn your cup upside down. Raise your hand if you think it's 2, say no thank you when asked. Okay. And raise your hand if you think it is 3, you should always take what is served even if you don't want it. Raise also like me. Yeah. It is actually B, say no thank you. You don't really want to be turning your coffee mug upside down, or in general, you know, some people like to do it with wine glasses too. Glass, it's fragile. Any unnecessary kind of movements of it, kind of save it from being broken or potentially dropped or anything like that. If a waiter comes up to you and asks you if you don't want to drop your, or if you don't want coffee, or if you want coffee, you don't just put your hand over your cup and say, no coffee, thanks. You're not gonna be like, oh, okay, and pour coffee on your hand. So that's one way that you can make yourself, or make your waiter aware that you don't want coffee. So next is our dessert course, the best course. Everyone knows that. You always want to use the utensils at the top of your plate setting. So as we talked about earlier, you're going to have your forks on your left side. So I always remember like F-O-R-K-L-E-F-T. And on your right, you're going to have like your liquids, your spoons. This will be S-P-O-O-N-R-I-G-H-T. Magic. It's designed that way, I swear. So you always want to make sure that you're using the stuff at the top. That is going to be your dessert utensils. Sometimes dessert is going to be preset, which can be super tempting when you're like me and you just want to slam into some cheesecake. So you want to make sure that you kind of push that to the side, wait for it to be properly served, wait for it to be announced that dessert will start. As we talked about, you usually wait for your host or your hostess to start before you go and start chowing in. So if you see that they're starting dessert, then you know that it's about dessert time. You also want to wait for the rest of the plates to kind of be moved out of there. Nobody really wants to be eating dessert and there's like gravy or chicken juice or I don't know, whatever else is all in their business. Another thing is coffee. As we talked about, coffee is something that can be asked. It's usually very frequent, happens all the time. But it's okay to say no to coffee, and it's also okay to ask for hot tea. Hot tea is usually served regularly, and it's kind of handed out, but if it's not asked for and you can specifically ask for it, chances are they're going to have hot tea ready for you and available if you want it. Some things to avoid, as we talked about, don't turn your cup over, and also don't ask for other people's dessert. It kind of goes with the rule that you don't want to be all intruding into someone else's business. Like we'll talk about later, you don't really ask for leftovers or things like that either. No doggy bags when you're in a formal restaurant. It doesn't really look good when you're all dressed up in your suit and then you're like prancing out. That's like brown paper bag or something like that. So you don't want to ask for other people's desserts as well. Any questions so far? No? Awesome. So just some final reminders, a little overview of what we did also. You want to maintain good posture. That's kind of just a general rule, like a really good piece of advice for life if you haven't heard that before. Make sure you have good posture. It's always good to be up and sitting up at your table instead of slouched over and like now your tie is falling into your soup or something like that. So make sure you're sitting up, you look good. Your meal pacing, as we talked about a little bit with the American style, you're passing your fork over. Meal pacing is something that's important. You don't want to be the person that finishes their meal in like 10 minutes while everyone else is like still just getting started on their salad. So make sure that you're pacing properly. Also, if you're a slow eater, maybe you want to pick it up a little bit. You also want to be the reason that people are waiting to eat, and now you're sitting there making everyone wait because you take 10 years to eat your food. So kind of know what your eating pace is and fix it so that way it's kind of falls with the rest of the group. If you struggle like that, like I do, it's always a good thing to watch your host. As we talked about, your host is kind of your guide. So if they are eating at a fast pace, then they kind of set the pace. So if they're eating at a fast pace, then you know what, it looks like the dinner's going to move on too quickly. If they're eating super slow, it's polite to be slow and allow them that opportunity. Or just judge the rest of your group also. You always want to kind of follow pace. You don't want to make anyone feel rushed. You don't want to make anyone feel like that you're waiting on them. Any questions? Awesome. Some other things, we talked about a little bit about acts of nature. Allergies and non-preferred foods, if that is something you know, then avoid. You don't want to have a reaction at the table. Those are things you take before. So if you get asked to RSVP or a hostess invites you somewhere, maybe you tell them beforehand, hey, I'm really allergic to shellfish, or I'm really allergic to this. So that way you know that's not going to be served to you around you. It is impolite to kind of get a meal and then be like, yeah, can I not get this? Can I get something else? It's kind of rude. How are people kind of supposed to know about your allergy? So it's always important to take care of that beforehand, so that way you are trying to be as polite as possible. If you are served something you can't eat though, no one's going to force you to eat it, it's okay to pass on it. Some other things, coughing, sneezing, acts of nature, can't be stopped. Things like blowing your nose, you can excuse yourself to go to the restroom or anywhere to blow your nose. Also, you don't really want to tell people if you're going to the restroom. It's kind of easy to think about when I'm about to put a piece of food in my mouth. So you should like, excuse me, I need to leave the table for a second. No one's gonna ask you why. You can just go ahead and leave the table, blow your nose. Coughing and sneezing, those things happen. You can use your napkin for that. Of course, if you feel the need after you do that, you would then want to ask for a new napkin. Definitely something you can do, or if you feel like you feel the need to excuse yourself, and also something you can do. So I like this one. Drinking, eating, and speaking are separate activities. I know when I eat, like I feel like I have 3 arms, because usually it's like fork in one, cup in another, and you just gotta go at it. You don't want to do that. Usually not the nicest thing when you have food in your mouth and you start talking, take a gulp of water, and spit some food chunks all out of the place. That stuff. Don't want to do any of that. It's kind of obvious. I think we all in past kindergarten encourage you to do that. But it's just something to keep in mind. Lastly, it's okay to leave leftovers. It's not okay to ask for them. As we talked about with dessert, you don't want to be kind of hoarding food. It doesn't look polite, but also not like the most professional thing. If you're kind of taking everyone's food, or you're asking if they want leftovers, or if you're trying to bring your stuff home, your meal is for that time only. So you don't do doggy bags on a home dinner or anything like that. These are just some related topics. We have dressing for the occasion, which we talked about a little. There's a difference between professional and formal and all that, so you want to make sure that you know exactly how you're supposed to dress, what is the proper dressing attire, so that way you can do it up correctly and look good and not look out of place. Next things are networking receptions. I'm also going to tie this into cocktail hours. So we're getting to that age where some of us are hitting 21, and it's like, what is appropriate for a cocktail hour or networking while you're at food? What's appropriate to drink and what's not appropriate to drink? I know a lot of things that I have read and been told by my elders is avoid hard liquor, like scotch at a wedding. That usually doesn't go well. You don't want to be the drunk guy tripping over stuff and pouring stuff all over the other guests there. Wine is good. Don't feel the need to finish your wine glass if you don't want to finish your wine glass. I know it can be tempting, super tempting, but you don't want to be doing stuff like that. Also, besides just the drinks that you're drinking, you also want to know what's appropriate conversation. So obviously avoid conversations that might get a little heated. Try to avoid politics. Maybe try to avoid sports. Other heated conversations that may not let the dinner end on a good note. Any questions on that? Awesome. So we thank you for your time today. If you guys have no other questions? You got questions out there?
Do you want to go over some things that you might have heard that